the
all
stories.
that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, they just had a little dime, an 1894S dime, no big deal, sold for 1.3 million. So, I mean, you know, yeah. So coins are cool.
They are
is really
cool.
what it comes down to. Speaking of cool coins, how about this? So,
and history.
And sale price. Okay, who's putting money on sale? Is ultimately what we have. So this was, when this first came out, this was the Apollo, this is the 50th anniversary of Apollo 11 is what we've got right here. I have got a handful of these. This was customer pick at $189.95. I've never sold it for a penny less than $189.95. I'm sorry, I got a quantity on that, 120? 500. So that's what's left of the edition. So we sold 1,500. Go in there and I find out I've still got some of these. And so when you have the mint state, so we sold lots of the proof coins. I think the proof coins are sold out. The mint state coin is going to be about 3 times rarer. As a matter of fact, the mintage on this, we're looking at the mintage on this only being somewhere around 100,000, actually fewer than 100,000 coins, making it one of the rarest. If this was an American Silver Eagle, $149.95, that would be, I wouldn't be able to keep it in stock. But instead, I've got the Apollo moon landing coin. And as you can see, it's a curved coin. See, check this out. So it's a curved coin. And if you see this right here, that is Buzz Aldrin's face mask of his helmet as he landed on the moon. As you can, if you remember that famous picture with the reflection right there of the lunar lander, there's Neil Armstrong, there's the American flag that you're going to have right there in a curved, pure silver coin that you're going to have. And there is the footprint on the moon, as you can see, the Liberty. This is a United States silver dollar. I have got a very small quantity, like I said, 75% sold out. My first day of issue, so this is from like 6 months ago. I have the red oak presentation box, and I've taken what I think is going to end up being one of the greatest coins made by the United States government, and I've taken $40 off. I've taken $40 off that you see right here. Still comes with the red oak presentation box. So now when you look at this I think is a $29.95 value. That puts this in at $120 for the coin in terms of first day of issue. It's a 100% huge customer pick at $189.95. I have a tiny quantity now remaining, only about 20% of the entire edition at the special sale price of $149.95.
Wow, if you've been following history, and of course 2019 was the 50th anniversary of the Apollo 11. So what an exciting way to celebrate that. Or if you have a family member, if you have a friend, if you have a loved one who collects anything having to do with space exploration, or they are coin collectors, jump right in. You could do that on FlexPay too of $37.49. So go ahead and add that to your order. You can order online at hsn.com. You can read